guys, so this video is going to be a partial book review. I feel like I'm in second grade again, but for shits and giggles, I have been reading this book, Why Men Love Bitches, and I initially started reading it because I was going through some problems, and a lot of my relationships, I felt like guys took me for granted and treated me like I was too nice and told me that I was easy to walk all over, and I didn't have a lot of self-confidence, and I kind of just let that kind of shit happen. So a couple of my friends recommended that I read this because it's great for giving you self-confidence and helps you not let people walk all over you, which is exactly what I needed, until I got to this chapter called Dumb Like a Fox. Now this is probably one of the most sexist chapters I have ever read in my life, and I'm not gonna go all mega feminist on you guys, but holy shit, this is not only offensive to women, it's offensive to guys because it tells women how to manipulate men under the assumption that the men are total idiots and incompetent, and then it tells women how you need to act like you're not capable of doing little things and you have to be frilly and like weak all of the time, and that men like that and they're too stupid to see through it, and you know, act like you need help doing things you don't really need help. It's just, let me just read you some of this shit just so that you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. I just had to vent about this. It's so ridiculous. Let him be right, you be smart. This is precisely the reason the dumb fox lets a man think he's in control. When you appeal to his feeling of power, you charge up his batteries. He wears the pants, and he is the man. Meanwhile, guess who's getting her way? What the fuck is this shit? And this part, I actually laughed out loud when I read this. My friend Annette learned this the hard way. She made the mistake of telling her new boyfriend about how she killed a snake in her backyard. He asked her, "How in the world did you kill it?" She went into detail about how she used a large shovel to do battle. Later that night, he couldn't get an erection. Isn't that the saddest thing you've ever heard? When you act too much like Tarzan, he feels too much like Jane. Don't even kill a bug when he's around. Don't change a tire. In fact, don't even change a light bulb. Heaven forbid, sister. It literally says that shit. Don't change a tire, don't change a light bulb. But then, in the very next breath, in the next paragraph, she says, there's a big difference between catering to his ego and appearing needy. You shouldn't show that you need him to help you with common sense, coping with everyday life. Those are the first two bullet points. And in my mind, I'm reading this going, common sense and coping with everyday life, like doing things that you need to do, like, I don't know, changing a light bulb. Want him to pitch in around the house? Give him little assignments. It doesn't matter if you ask him to program the VCR or help hang a photo on the wall. When he uses that noisy electric drill, he'll feel just like Rambo. When the picture hangs crooked, and it will, pretend like it's perfect. Simply wait until he leaves the room and then straighten it. This is the kind of shit I'm talking about, where you treat the guy like he's totally incompetent. Like, of course he's gonna screw up hanging a photo on the wall, because who can't do that? It's so hard to hang a picture on the wall that of course the man's not gonna know how to do it, but don't ever make the mistake of telling him that it looks like shit. Just wait until he leaves and then fix it. Go behind him all the time and fix everything that he does, because of course we all know that men aren't competent enough to do anything right the first time. It doesn't matter if the shelf hangs at a 45-degree angle and stuff keeps sliding off the other end. Clap like the happiest seal at the zoo and then have a handyman come over to fix it when he isn't around. The minute you say it's crooked, it's all over. He'll never do anything handy around the house again. It'll make him feel worse than a little kid who got scolded in arts and crafts class at school. Right. The moment you tell him that he didn't do something correct, it's over. I'm sorry, I don't want to be in a relationship with someone to begin with who can't take a little criticism. Now that doesn't mean I'm going to go behind someone and be like, oh, you did bad on this and this looks like shit and you fucked that up and you need to fix your whole life. What are you doing with yourself? You're an idiot. I mean, come on, no one would do that. But I mean, if you do something horribly, I'm going to be like, maybe we should like have somebody else come fix that, or maybe we can try to do it like this. That way they learn and do it better next time. Like if I did something shitty, I would want someone to tell me, hey, by the way, that doesn't look good, so that I don't embarrass myself by keeping on and doing the same thing over and over again and keep screwing up. Like, I want to improve. So if I'm with somebody and they're too afraid to tell me where I need improvement, like I can't handle constructive criticism, what is the point of even being in a relationship with someone if it's totally dishonest? When he hands over that paycheck, thank him for working so hard for the benefit of everyone in the family. Again, wait until he leaves the room, then review the stub to make sure that he got paid all of his overtime. Because of course, again, the man isn't capable to review his own paychecks, and second of all, why is he handing over the paycheck to you? Why aren't you off your ass working? Like, everyone else. So this book not only assumes that the men aren't smart enough to be able to make sure that they're getting paid adequately, it assumes that women are waiting at home like the 1950s with their hand out waiting for a check, because obviously they're not gonna work. They're barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen making dinner. This next part is really ridiculous. Here are a few more dumb fox tips on how to make him feel more studly, because that's what we're all concerned with. Look at this, it's all bullet pointed. I'm gonna read you my favorites. If you hear a noise at night, like a bird pooping on the roof, act really scared. Tell him to go check to see what that noise is all about. Ask him to open a jar that you can't open, even if you can. Or unzip your dress, even if you can reach it. Or you can ask him to lift a small box for you. If I'm able to open a jar, I am not going to lie to my boyfriend and be like, oh, it's so hard to open this, I just can't do it myself. Could you and your big strong man muscles come over here and open it for me? I mean, is that what guys really want? A girl to walk around acting like an idiot and completely incapable of doing anything on her own all the time? Is that really attractive? Let him move a piece of furniture, even one you could move yourself. When he does this with ease, tell him how heavy it was. You are so strong. Gee, I don't know how you moved that. You probably think I'm full of shit right now, but it says it right there. It's ridiculous. Let him parallel park your car or back it out of a tight spot. If you tell him he's a much better driver than you are, he'll be readily eating out of your hand. Then it skips to this next part, which is a little bit funny, because she goes from acting like this helpless damsel in distress and encouraging other women to do the same to a feminist. So it's kind of amazing how she can switch between those two different things. This conversation came up on my radio show. A caller asked if she should let the man pay. I said, in the beginning, yes. Both my male guest and the female sound engineer jumped and said, but that's not fair. I see their point, but it also isn't fair that we get 60 cents on the dollar in the workplace, that we wear painful push-up bras and high heels, and that we carry the babies and give birth. So let him be the man, a gentleman. First of all, no one is forcing you to wear push-up bras or high heels. Let's not blame the men for that, as a lot of women actually love high heels. They just wear them for fashion. I can't because I'm already 5'9.5", so that'd be kind of weird if I were. I just don't like being too tall. But that's my personal choice, and I like comfortable shoes and bras. And then also, on the whole 60 cents to the dollar thing, I am so tired. I'm so tired of this topic. I've covered it in videos before, TJ's covered it in videos before, Repsiana's covered it in everybody's covered this in videos before. We all know that this is an exaggeration of the statistics. Women do not make 60 cents on the dollar. Actually, normally I hear 70 cents on the dollar. That's what most feminists actually use, and I even have to battle with that because even that's a lie, but she goes down 10 more cents. It says 60 cents on the dollar. It doesn't take into account the differences in jobs. Women typically pick lower paying jobs, like they go into social work or education, where more men go into higher paying jobs. They don't really factor that in, so that's a big deal. Women also go on maternity leave and are more likely to take half-time or part-time jobs so that they can stay at home with the kids. This is nothing that anybody is forcing them to do. It's just statistically going to lower the amount of money that women make in comparison to men. I could go into more in detail, but that's not what this video is about. It just frustrates me that all of a sudden she jumps into being a feminist after telling women to act like they're completely incapable of doing anything and are always a damsel in distress. Probably the worst thing in this entire chapter that I noticed was whenever it talks about sexual harassment, and it actually tells women to pretty much put up with it and be polite whenever it happens. Being dumb like a fox can also diffuse a situation in which he's slightly disrespectful. For example, say you're waiting to be seated for dinner on your first date, and he puts his hand on your lower back, very low on your back. All you need to do is play dumb. Step aside as if it were a complete accident and say, oops, excuse me. I'm sorry, what? Play dumb? Step aside? I'm sorry, if that happened to me and I felt uncomfortable, I would like move his hand off and be like, dude, come on, stop. Or if he were persistent enough about it, I would tell him to kindly go fuck himself and I would leave the date. If someone is going to be rude like that and disrespectful, I have no interest in being with them. And the fact that this book is like, hey, if a guy is touching you inappropriately and it makes you feel uncomfortable, you shouldn't tell him that it makes you feel uncomfortable. You should just avoid the situation completely so that he doesn't feel bad about himself, heaven forbid. The classic superwoman wants a relationship in which the man and woman are equals. This is nice in theory, but in practice it becomes a one-sided relationship pretty quickly. I mean, I'm sorry, what kind of guys are you dating that you feel this way about? I mean, the whole book is pretty much shaped around how to manipulate guys, how to play games. Don't text back right away. Don't call back right away. And I mean, yeah, you don't want to seem too desperate. You don't want to seem too eager, and you don't want to just cave every time he ever wants anything. You want to be able to stand up for yourself and do what's best for you. But this book is just pretty much teaching women how to be players. Whenever you find Mr. Perfect or Miss Perfect, you're not going to have to play games. You're not going to worry about waiting 3 days for them to text you back. You're not going to have to worry about manipulating each other to get you to like each other. It's just going to work. You're going to want to be with each other. You're going to want to hang out, and you're not going to have to worry about playing all these games, and you're going to be able to have a functional relationship like normal people without having to mess with each other, lie to each other, manipulate each other into getting what you want. You'll just give it because you like the person, or you're falling in love with the person, or you love the person, and it's just a normal freaking relationship where that stuff doesn't apply because you're adults now and you don't have to play games anymore. Maybe it's just me. I just feel like this book is a little ridiculous and very sexist. I feel like it's insulting to men and to women, but hey, that's just my opinion. Maybe I'm completely wrong. So guys out there, leave a comment and let me know. Women out there, leave a comment and let me know. Do you do this? Have you had this done to you? What are your experiences? What's your advice? I don't know. I thought it was an interesting topic, so let me know what you guys think. Comment section below. Like this video, share it everywhere, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much to everyone out there who is my Patreon, and to those of you who buy my t-shirts at jacquelineglenn.com. Find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Vine. All my social media links are in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.